Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Okay, September is National Friendship Month, a time to celebrate the connections that shape us, sustain us, and inspire us to grow. Our guest today, Ahmard Vital, is a motivational speaker, coach, ministry leader, and author whose life work is rooted in faith, mentorship, and service. From coaching athletes to inspiring teens to publishing life-shaping books like Awaken the Baller Within and I Am More Than Enough, Ahmad has seen firsthand how friendships and mentorships create life-changing opportunities. Today, we'll explore how friendship isn't just personal, it's also a ministry, a source of strength, and a key to unlocking potential in every season of life. Welcome to the podcast, Ahmad.
Hey man, thank you for having me on.
Yeah. Ahmad, since it's National Friendship Month, can you share a friendship or mentorship that deeply shaped your own journey?
Yeah, I think the one that I'm currently engaged in is I'm at my local church here in the Woodlands, Texas. I have a pastor who has been really pouring into me over the past year and a half, and obviously there's a mentorship there, there's a discipleship there, and there's a pouring into spiritually and biblically. But it obviously, when you're talking about mentoring, there's a human element that comes along with that, a friendship that comes along with that, and I definitely have developed that with this gentleman who is very well versed in the Bible, so he's able to utilize the Word of God to be able to bring me through a lot of different challenges, and he's really been there to support me through a many of things, and so I honor him through this time, and as we go into National Friendship Month that we're doing here in this podcast today.
Yeah, yeah. One of the things you talk about is you say sports is more is a metaphor for life, and in that regard, how has friendship and teamwork within sports influenced the way you build relationships today? Since we're using sport as a metaphor for life.
It's interesting because for many years in my life, the guys I played sports with became very good friends. In fact, my best friend, who I've had for 30 plus years, we played ball all the way since middle school till all the way through high school. And so, when you say that that's a metaphor for life, I think the thing that comes with me is just being able to be accountable to your friend, being able to help him through those situations when you're going through the trenches. I know any of your audience out there who plays sports of any kind in any continent in any country will know that there's got to be a level of teamwork and camaraderie that'll have to happen that'll come from that. And typically when you spend a lot of time with somebody in locker rooms and in practice and different opportunities to be able to bond together, a friendship is going to possibly occur from that. Maybe it may not be the friendship that lasts, maybe decades or whatever, but it'll definitely last while you're in that season, whether it's you're in high school and college or at the professional level. I'd imagine that a lot of friendships are forged through the eyes and the lens of sports. And I know that I've gained a many of friends through that and through many other portals as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of you've coached athletes and young adults at high levels. How do you see mentorship as an extension of friendship?
I think we can definitely go back to accountability, but when it comes to mentorship, it's the student sharing goals with the teacher, and your job is to not only encourage them but to hold them accountable and keep those benchmarks and those levels as they progress through those different steps. And so when I go into mentorship, I like to leave the door wide open. I like to make sure that the that there's I don't want to say there's no judgment, because obviously you have to really look at things very critically if you're going to be mentoring someone, but let them know that there's no conversation that's out of bounds. There's no um, opportunities that they need to maybe look past and wondering if there's going to be a level of shame or judgment or some type of ridicule that goes along with that, but more so leading with service and love and making sure that you are putting their interests first. We don't come to serve, we don't come to be served, but to serve. And when you lead with your mind and your heart to be able to help people through those different times in their mentorship, I think that those are the type of things that we need more of. And It's something that I spend a great deal of my life, even now, working through at this current time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one of the words that's thrown around with uh, uh, friendship, it's surface level. So the question is, how do we differentiate between surface level friendship and those that truly help us grow?
I would say surface level, I guess you can almost, I guess it could be in the category of friendship, but that could be more of like an acquaintance, associates, people who you maybe interact with through the workplace or just you maybe know them casually. And it's not that there's any, um, I don't want to say any strife between you and them, but just the relationship is maybe just more of, you maybe see them once a month and have casual conversations and move on with your life. And whereas the other types of friendships are far more deeper, they're far more personal. And there's some goals that are set in some key moments that you all are going to spend together, some intimate moments that you spend together because you're looking to pour into their life and serve them and give them the tools that are needed to be able to push forward and love and support them. And I think that as we look at friendship, um, we need to look at it from through the lens of love and service. I think that those will and gratitude. I will throw those three things in there. Love,
Yeah.
service, and gratitude to me are going to be key pillars to make sure that a friendship is genuine and a friendship has some depth to it. Um, Not to say that there's not levels to friendship, but I do think that those key elements are something that we need to lean in on more now, um, especially in an age where we're doing things digitally. We're sending out emails and text messages and direct messages through many social media platforms. And as much as we can get back to human interaction and even platforms like this where we can see one another or be able to meet up with one another, those are going to be where you can get more depth and you can get more fruit out of the friendship than just those that are more digital and more non-touch.
Well, a lot of young people, since we're talking about friendship as an mentorship as an extension of friendship, a lot of young people, they struggle with finding good role models. What advice would you give them about forming the right friendship and finding the right mentor?
I think that they probably need to take a step back, um, and look at the current adults, whether young adults or older adults in their lives, who are maybe moving in a direction that they see and that they admire and that they honor. Whether it's a coach or a teacher or a minister or a pastor, a
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
someone within the ministry who's a leader of some kind. And obviously some shared interests, whether it's professional, whether it's through the church, just something to where it aligns with you and you see some things in them that you would like to have for yourself. And of course,
Yeah,
then you need to make your I don't want to say make your pitch, but approach them obviously with honor and love and let them know that not only do you honor and admire them, but that if they wouldn't mind investing some time in you. I've seen over time that when I've suggested people to look for those who are moving in a way that you see as admirable, um,
yeah,
I haven't seen too many times where even someone of very high status would not invest some time in you. Now, some people may be able to give more time than others, but I know when I approached my guy and said that I wanted to disciple under him, I said, can we maybe just meet for an hour, hour and a half, once a week? And if he'd have said, I can't do it once a week, but I can do it, twice a month, I would have accepted that as well. But
yeah.
when people are moving a certain way and they live with a sense of gratitude, I just believe that these young people, when they look for those types of leaders, I believe they'll find more yeses within that. But they have to open their hearts, have some humility, submit, and be ready to serve and to listen. and observe what's going on. And I think that they'll be able to make a lot more better moves and being able to find more in that friendship category and more in some mentorship as well.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ahmad, for just breaking it down and also using your own um, story to illustrate what it means to to live a life of gratitude when you're like you whatever people give you like, oh yeah, and like, oh, I can't believe, this you're supposed to be doing this as though people owe you stuff, right? I think that's what they call the entitlement mentality.
I'll repeat that again for real quick.
I said an opposite of what you just described would be the entitlement mentality, where I'm like, oh, you're like, yeah, you're supposed to show me every 2 weeks, once a week. I'm like, yeah, like, nobody owes you anything. Why are you living as if, yeah, people in your debt? Okay, um, in your book, Now What, you talk about major life transitions. How can friendships help us navigate those authentic seasons?
I think friendship is core to the 5 steps that we utilize in the book. Obviously, when we're talking about making, major transitional change, um, the key factor here is that if we're going to be successful in life, if we're going to make major moves, if we're going to do groundbreaking things and make impact, we're not meant to do life alone. I know that, in recent years, going back to 2020, with, the global pandemic went down, they really were trying to, encourage people to stay away from other people. And that obviously with the young people, that was very detrimental to a lot of them from an educational
Yeah.
standpoint and from a social and a mental health standpoint as well. Um, but we're not meant to do life alone. And, my book obviously focuses on 5 steps: reflect, decide, plan, act, and seek. Every single one of those steps, maybe outside of the reflection, and even the reflection, you probably would need someone to maybe, double check, or not really, I wouldn't say double check. I would say, make sure you're seeing it on all sides. Like when you're trying to reflect on
Yeah.
your life and, you know, if you have any blind spots, that's where I was sort of wanting to go with that, where maybe there's a different perspective to how you see how
Yeah.
things are going. Because when you're in the trenches and life is
Yeah.
rough, you don't really see the left to the right too
Yeah.
clearly, because you just feel like you're so bogged down. But when you explain this to someone else and you're laying out your situation, they may be like, it's really not as bad as you think it is. And thankfully, I do have a lot of amazing people in my life, when I've gone through some very tough times, and some of those most recently. And I remember reaching out to my publisher, and I was like, "Hey, man, like, here's what's going on," and I laid out all the stuff, and you swear like the world was sort of coming to the end, and my guy was like, "Doesn't sound so bad, and actually, you have more strength than you have to even admit that you have a situation and a problem."
Yeah.
So once you able to do all of those things, I think that friendship can help you get into out of those transitions. And really and truly, all 5 of those steps in the book that I wrote a couple of years ago, all of them include in using other people, deciding, right, planning, acting out and going out and doing the work, and seeking counsel. All of those steps, all 5 of them require you getting out, being vulnerable, being humbled, as you would say, not entitled. You deserve nothing. You earn what you go out and get, and you even earn people's time. You earn people's trust, and you earn people's advice and counsel that they can give for you. And I think that the more we do that, the more successful we'll just be overall as a human race.
Has there ever been a time when a friend stood in the gap for you in a way that changed your direction?
Yes, absolutely, and probably more often than I can count. Um, because it's interesting, wisdom, when you've been through a bunch, and you look back and you're at your 20s, look back at your 30s, and obviously now I'm in my 40s, and so now I'm far more open of a book at this point in my life, because you try to keep things suppressed, and you say, I don't want to bother people with my problems, but at the same time, how I don't want to say arrogant, but you can probably say arrogant. How selfish is it of you if you don't share with others what's going on? How do you give people opportunity to help you? How do you give people the opportunity to bless you, to pray for you, to be able to pour into you? If you don't be vulnerable and saying, maybe I don't have things figured out right now. And so I've even as recently as probably a couple of weeks ago, I have opened up to someone, and a friendship has really, really pushed me through and got me on the other side of some things. Um, because I will say that I'm extremely hard on myself. My expectations for myself are probably unreasonable at times.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad I have a good group of men over at my church whom I can bounce so many of ideas off of. And
Yeah.
they're going to give me not only the correct and moral advice, but they're going to give me something that's biblically sound and things that I can move forward with in a more productive way in my life.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Ahmad. For those that are listening right now who feel isolated, how can they start building new, meaningful friendships today, not tomorrow, today?
Step out of your house, step out of wherever you live, your apartment, your home, your condo, wherever you stay. Get out and just start talking to people and evaluating the circles you have in your life and see who's in your life currently. Some of them may be here for a season, some of them may be leaving out of a season and going into another season. But the bottom line is that you need to go out and communicate. And if someone who's listening right now is going through a tough time and they're having a hard time maybe connecting, one suggestion I would make is find a local nonprofit near you or a church and just go start volunteering. Go start serving other people. Go to someplace where they're serving food to those who are in need. Go to a place where maybe you're cleaning up parks or cleaning up a particular area. Just go somewhere where you can put in some service hours. Let's say you invest 4 service hours a week to giving back to the needy, giving back to the homeless, giving back to your community, giving back to your local church, and just being in places where others are serving with you. You'll be amazed how fruitful that is to your soul to be able to give back to other people. And not only that, you're aligning with others who have the same mindset, the same heart posture as you to want to give back to the community. That's what I would say the first thing you need to do. If you're going through a rough time, go serve others. Step outside of your little what's going on with you and go pour into others and give them your time and your attention, your service and your heart, and give them a conversation and share with them and see what's going on with them. Step outside your own self and quit worrying about what you have going on and see if there's a way where you can pour into someone else, even in the midst of your own struggles, challenges, and adversities you're dealing with.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Ahmad. I did prepare a lightning round of quick fire questions I would ask you and that require quick responses. You ready?
Okay, I will put my best foot forward.
Okay. Who's the best friend you've had since childhood?
A guy named EJ
Okay. A friendship that came from an unexpected place.
came through the church system.
Okay. What's one quality you believe defines a true friend? One quality.
Love.
Finish this sentence. Friendship is the ministry where
Friendship is the ministry.
friendship is the ministry where
We have the
complete
greatest
sentence.
opportunity to serve.
Okay. Who in your life embodies the kind of friend you strive to be?
It's a tough question. Repeat that one more time.
Who in your life embodies the kind of friend you strive to be?
There's a gentleman I met at church by the name of Mike Brady.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ahmad. And where can listeners learn more about what you do and connect with you?
Right now, they can get on any of the social media platforms or go to my website, ahmardvital.com. And obviously, I'm available, info@ahmardvital.com. They can send me over an email. We're doing a lot of work over here, collaborating with a lot of guys, doing a lot of work over at the church and the ministry. Um, Youth ministry is where I'm putting a lot of my service time into right now. So if they have any young people in their life who maybe needs just to just speak to someone and just air out some grievances they may have or just some concerns they may have, they can reach out to me via email and we'll set up a time to consult with them during that time. By going through your podcast, do a 30-minute sit down with them free of charge. We'll tie that back, pay that forward to them. So I look forward to hearing from some of your people who maybe have some young people in their life who can use a little bit of a boost or just a word of encouragement.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Ahmad. As we honor Now Friendship Month, remember this: the right friends and mentor can change the course of your life. Ahmad has dedicated his career to empowering people to take the next step in faith, friendship, and personal growth. You can connect with him and download a digital preview of his newest book, What 5 Steps to Get Up and Make the Most of Life, at booknowwhat.com or visit ahmardvital.com. I'll put all the links mentioned in the description and in the show notes so you can click and go directly to the sites mentioned. Thank you so much, Ahmad.
Thank you for having me, man.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.